CryptoKids, welcome back to another video. We just made a stream on the Moonshow channel where we broke down the price of Bitcoin and how everything has changed massively in the past 24 hours. So looking at the price, we're back to 105, and obviously we made a breaking news update as soon as President Trump announced a ceasefire between Iran and Israel, and this caused the price of Bitcoin to pump all the way into the $106,000 range. Now we're trading at 105.317. And I want to make this update again to show you where I think the price of Bitcoin can go and what we can expect in the immediate short term and also the mid to macro. Powell is testifying in front of Congress and he said some interesting things regarding crypto and also the interest rate. So I do want to make this update and tell you about all of this and much more on today's video. So stay tuned until the end. Make sure to destroy the like button. Guys, subscribe if you're not a crypto kid because we make daily updates on price, on breaking news. So stay tuned on this channel for everything crypto. And with that said, let's get straight into the price of Bitcoin and conduct some technical analysis. So first thing is first, the bear case scenario is now very much still likely, but its likeliness has dropped significantly. We haven't completely invalidated the daily, and this is just my analysis from the Moonshow. So we haven't completely invalidated the double top scenario on the daily time frame. However, its probability of playing out has reduced, in my opinion, down to about 10 to 15%. There is a good 85% chance that that scenario no longer is in play, and we try and carry out this bullish pennant and also the Wyckoff reaccumulation, which should send Bitcoin into new all-time highs relatively soon. When you go into the S&P, which Bitcoin is very much correlated at the same time with, we are trying to make brand new all-time highs. Again, I highlighted that it would be very scary if the S&P entered into this negative direction. If we can surpass all-time highs on the S&P 500 and escape the potential formation of a bearish trend, then I think the chances of Bitcoin increasing to new all-time highs and getting rid of that bearish scenario goes up to like a 95% chance. So I think there's a very good probability here that Bitcoin continues extending its reach to the upside. We play the Wyckoff reaccumulation, we break above the bullish pennant, and we continue into new all-time high territory. Obviously, the M2 money supply correlation is still very much existent. And 90% of the time, Bitcoin, this is proven statistics, Bitcoin moves along with liquidity. So this is good stuff that I'm seeing on the Bitcoin price action right now. The 15-minute time frame, something that we don't really go into so much, but I will mention it because there is a formation of a consolidation on the 15-minute time frame. It's looking a little bit like a Bart Simpson pattern. It's not defined yet if it's a continuation bullish pattern or a Bart Simpson pattern. As of right now, it looks similar to what we saw here and multiple other times on Bitcoin's price history. So be careful. We could see a short-term dump into the 103 region if it does end up being a Bart. If we do see the 103 dump, then it's not concerning. It would only be concerning if we come back and test the support line here of this pennant, because if you do so, then you're making the support line incredibly weak. So a 103 retest and then continuation is absolutely fine. You don't want to see a retest into the 100K territory, because if you do so, then you weaken this line of support dramatically, and then the bear case increases its probability of playing out. So a 103 retest and then continuation, perfectly fine. Ideally, you want to continue straight into the resistance of the bullish pennant, which is in the 107 to 108 region, because now we're coming into the 70% mark in the bullish pennant, and by 70 to 75%, you want to be seeing the breakout. So ideally, you want to see the breakthrough as soon as we possibly can and avoid the 103K retest, let alone a 100K retest. But even if we do see that 103K level, not concerning. The only point of concern is if you come back down to the 100K zone. When we go into Ethereum, the price of Ethereum is bouncing beautifully from the weekly line of support that we drew. Fantastic. We opened a trade on Ethereum, almost timing the exact bottom here, which is great. If you want to be trading Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, you can use the link down below to weeks to sign up and begin trading immediately. We have a bit of a inverse head and shoulders forming on Ethereum, on Solana, on a lot of the cryptocurrencies that move in parallel with Ethereum's price action. So if we can break above the resistance we're trading at now, then we can see a higher Ethereum very soon, going to 2.5 and then eventually breaking into this ascending triangle and hitting 2.7 again. That would be amazing. And one of the trades that I took in preparation for that inverse head and shoulders is actually Dogecoin. So Dogecoin has the same thing forming When you look into the macro time frame for Dogecoin, you're bouncing off, just like Ethereum, from massive, massive support. I added more Dogecoin to my spot portfolio as well yesterday on the dip. And I think Dogecoin, Ethereum, they will do very well in the cycle. They're getting, I mean, Doge is getting its altcoin ETF in summer, hopefully. And, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Solana. Solana can still see a bit more of a drop, but let's see. Right now, it's a good time to add to spot positions. In my opinion, I don't think derivatives long positions yet make sense for me, but I think a derivatives long on Dogecoin makes sense from the support line on the weekly time frame, and on the 15-minute or the 4-hourly, we have the inverse head and shoulder. So I'm taking a bit of a trade there. I'm going to DCA into it, but I think these two altcoins look interesting. If you want to examine two altcoins, I would be looking out for Ethereum and Dogecoin. And finally, what did the Fed chair say? Well, Fed chair said that banks are free to use cryptocurrencies. Great. This is increasing the credibility of Bitcoin and crypto. More and more institutional investors, more and more people that want to buy Bitcoin and crypto for the long term. Great stuff. And regarding the interest rates, we now have a jump of probabilities in a cut in July. So in 36 days' time, we could see the Fed cutting rates by 25 basis points. The probabilities are up by 20% due to the remarks that he has given during the testimony. I won't get into what those are. If you're interested in the full details, then you can go to the Moonshow channel and watch my full analysis. But in summary, he said some good things which are dovish and could cause a 25 basis point cut as soon as July, and if not, in September. So good stuff in terms of Fed cuts that will bring altcoin season closer. So instead of a Q2 2026 altcoin season, it improves the chances of us having it in Q1 of 2026 and maybe even Q4 of 2025. But very, very final thing, right now the Trump administration is focusing on the big, beautiful bill and the tariffs, which should come in by the 4th of July. So these two things will increase liquidity massively, again, increasing the price of Bitcoin long term. And also, these two things should help the Fed cut rates sooner at the same time. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Good day for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I hope you can enjoy your evening, and I'll see you all on the next video very soon. Take care, guys, and as always, bye-bye.